The arena floor was slick with blood, both red and blue as Marcus Chen limped toward the fallen form in the center of the pit. Around him, the roar of 1,000 alien spectators created a wall of sound that pressed against his eardrums like physical force. They were screaming for death as they always did. The Crithian warrior lay motionless, his forearms splayed at unnatural angles. His exoskeleton, once gleaming obsidian, was cracked and leaking cerulean fluid. Commander Zakthor had been the arena's champion for 3 cycles, undefeated until today's match against the Vexnar Berserker. Now he was just another casualty, another body waiting to be cleared before the next fight. Marcus had seen this before. In the arena there were no medics, no mercy. You won or you died, sometimes both. Move aside, human. The guard's translator crackled. The cleaners will remove the corpse. He's not dead, Marcus said, kneeling beside the warrior. His own ribs screamed in protest, legacy of his fight 3 hours prior. His respiratory spiracles are still moving. The guard's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. Paralyzed from the neural strike. Among my people, this is the same as death. Better, even. Death comes with honor. This brings only shame. Marcus examined the warrior's eyes. They moved, tracking him with fierce intelligence despite the body's stillness. In that gaze, Marcus saw something he recognized, the desperate desire to survive, to fight another day. It was the same look he'd seen in his own mirror after the accident that should have ended his boxing career, before the experimental neural regeneration therapy that brought him back. I'm taking him, Marcus announced. The arena fell silent. Even the bloodthirsty crowd seemed shocked into stillness. You claim this warrior? The guard's voice carried an edge of disbelief. You understand what this means? He becomes your responsibility. His debts, his shame, his burden. The arena will release him to you, but his contract transfers. You must fight his remaining matches. Marcus looked at the schedule board. 7 fights, 7 death matches. Fine. The guard's entire body language shifted to confusion. Why? You are human. Your kind has no honor bonds with the Crithian. You owe him nothing. Marcus carefully slid his arms under the warrior's massive frame, grunting with effort. The Crithian easily weighed 300 pounds. Where I come from, we have a saying, we leave no one behind. Irrational, the guard muttered, but stepped aside. The medical bay was a dark corner of the complex where the arena operators kept barely functioning equipment for slaves they deemed worth repairing. Marcus laid Zakthor on the examination platform and began scanning him with the ancient diagnostic tools. Why? The voice was barely a whisper, emerging from the warrior's translator implant. Why do this? Marcus didn't look up from the neural scanner. Because someone did it for me once. I was paralyzed, career over, life over. Everyone said I was done. But one doctor refused to give up on me. I am your enemy. We have fought. I have killed humans in the arena. That was the arena. This is different. Marcus found what he was looking for. The neural pathway disruption at the base of the warrior's spine. Your people gave up on you. Mine don't work that way. Over the next 6 weeks, Marcus fought during the day and worked on Zakthor's rehabilitation at night. The neural regeneration therapy he'd undergone had taught him the principles, even if the equipment here was primitive. Slowly, sensation returned to Zakthor's limbs. First a twitch, then movement, then strength. The other fighters watched with a mixture of curiosity and contempt. To most species in the arena, weakness was deserving of death. But Marcus had learned something during his years as a fighter. Strength wasn't just physical. It was the courage to do the right thing when everyone else chose the easy path. You're fighting my 7th match tonight, Zakthor said one evening, now able to sit upright on his own. His upper arms gripped Marcus's shoulder. Please let me fight it. I have recovered enough. Marcus shook his head. You're at 70%. That Vortan gladiator will tear you apart. Then I die with honor, not as a burden you carry. You're not a burden. Marcus met the warrior's multifaceted eyes. You're my friend, and friends don't let friends die for pride. The 7th fight was brutal. The Vortan was 9 feet of muscle and rage with claws that could shred steel. Marcus took hit after hit, each one threatening to be his last. But he'd learned something else during his recovery. Sometimes survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes it's about being too stubborn to quit. When Marcus finally landed the knockout blow, the Vortan dropped like a fallen tree. The crowd's roar was different this time. Not just bloodlust, but something else. Respect, perhaps. Or maybe just confusion at this strange human who fought 7 death matches for a warrior not of his kind. Zakthor was waiting when Marcus stumbled out of the arena, now standing on his own 4 legs. Behind him stood a dozen other Crithian warriors, their armor marking them as clan leaders. "We have purchased your freedom," Zakthor announced. "Both yours and mine. The debt is settled." Marcus swayed, exhaustion threatening to pull him down. "You didn't have to. You saved me when honor demanded you should not. You carried my burden without complaint. You showed me that strength is not found only in victory, but in the courage to help those who have fallen." Zakthor's mandibles clicked, and what Marcus had learned was a smile. "This is not a lesson my people knew, but it is one we will not forget." As they walked out of the arena together, free men for the first time in years, Marcus understood something profound. Humans weren't the strongest species, or the fastest, or the smartest, but they had something that set them apart across the galaxy. They refused to leave anyone behind, even when it made no sense, even when it cost them everything. And sometimes, that made all the difference.